Today's top stories from Breaking Views. 2012, a chance for the people to declare if they're willing to do what it takes to save the euro. And it's back to the future for RBS's investment banking arm. With me is Robert Cole. Morning to you, Robert.
Hi, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. 2012, the year citizens will pronounce on the euro. It's kind of obvious.
Well, it is.
But that's what it comes down to, right?
It is obvious, but it's a really, really powerful point. And, you know, as we enter the new year, make or break year for the euro, surely, I think we've got to look at some really big issues. Yes, there are some technical things that we get across in day-to-day business, but at the start of the year, we've got to look at some of the really big ones. And, I mean, I think we can be relatively sure that politicians, by and large, across Europe want the euro to survive. Do the markets? Well, I think probably they do if they thought hard enough about it, although, you know, those very active people in the markets don't always help. But at the end of the day, all the markets are, and all the politicians and policymakers are representatives of the people, the citizens. Without wanting to sound too crass, if the people don't want it, it won't happen. And it's the job of the politicians, and perhaps indeed the markets, to persuade the people that they should get behind this project because it really is worth saving, if for no other reason than the alternative is really too difficult to work.
Ireland, Portugal and Spain, we've already got, the people have spoken, and since they've voted a new government. How long is this vote on the euro actually going to take? I mean, are we going to see referendums on the euro across Europe this year? Because this needs to happen quickly, let's face it.
Well, I don't know that we're going to see referendums, as it were, called referendums. We've got a lot of votes going on, though. As you say, Spain and Portugal and Ireland have already had them. There's a really big one in France, which is a presidential election, of course, and it may be that the referenda are actually, elections. But unless the politicians can get behind the ideas, and up to that point, it's their fault, that the people don't get behind it, because it seems to be blindingly obvious to anyone who thinks for more than 5 seconds about it that the euro is basically a good idea and what's wrong has been the execution. But unless the politicians can persuade people that, you know, that the euro is in their own best interests, we're in a lot of trouble.
Okay, let's talk about this this RBS investments bank story. So the British government, they've cut a lot already, or a lot has been cut since all this happened at RBS. It looks like they want more now as well from RBS.
Yeah, I mean, there are several news items that came out over the last 2 weeks are really, really quite interesting. There were some good numbers from the interesting numbers from the ECB, for example, and just before Christmas, Chancellor of the UK, George Osborne, stood up and made a long statement about RBS, which we covered then. We've now come back to that subject and thought, well, you know, what happens if RBS does shrink itself to concentrate really on domestic business and commercial and retail customers in the UK? Well, is there a room for an investment bank at all? And we've sort of come to the conclusion, well, yes, possibly, and it might look a little bit like County NatWest. For all you aged rockers out there, you might remember that from the 1980s.
But you're saying,
it wasn't.
Doyle's saying that could be hardly be called a proper investment bank.
Well,
right?
it didn't have a great time if you cast your eyes back. So I think that if it wants to be an investment bank at all, it's going to have its work cut out. Can you be a fully fledged investment bank concentrating on one relatively small, although important market like the UK? Not sure about that.
All right, Robert, many thanks for that. Robert Cole. If you want to watch our US Breaking Views show, 12:30 Eastern, 17:30 GMT every day, I'm Axel Threlfall. This is Reuters.